we're going to go ahead and let our next speaker get started. Her name is Lindsay Yazzolino, and she's the Tactile Design Specialist. Welcome, Lindsay.
Thank you so much, Anna. I'm so happy to be back. This is it was really fun to speak last year, and it's a super cool conference. So I'm Lindsay Yazzolino, and as Anna mentioned, I have this lovely SpongeBob background. I'm actually coming from Boston, but you wouldn't know that. You would think I was coming from Bikini Bottom. But anyway, so I am a tactile designer and also a user experience specialist for touch graphics. And so we've had over 20 years experience designing all different kinds of hands-on activities, lots of tactile maps and models and educational materials. And specifically last year, I talked a lot about the work that we've been doing in museums to create hands-on experiences, to create tactile experiences and all kinds of cool interactive stuff. So I wish I could pass around lots of tactile things. Unfortunately, that isn't really possible with doing this virtually, but normally I'd have a lot of hands-on stuff to pass around. So I apologize for not being able to do that. But last year I presented all different kinds of, I presented a bunch of different things. I showed some tactile bats, and some maps and booklets and models. I talked about some models. Actually, speaking of bats, I should mention that I'm wearing some earrings that are shaped like sleeping bats, which I love bats. So I always have bat things. I'm also wearing a necklace that looks like a carbon atom, because chemistry is awesome too. And I forgot to also mention I use she, her, hers pronouns. So yeah, so I showed a lot. I showed some of those. I also showed a saber-tooth tiger skull and some maps that that people can touch and can interact with using an electronic pen and various other things. So I wanted to just give an update on some of the things I talked about last year. So one of the things I mentioned last year, we were making a brain model for the National Museum of Health and Medicine in Silver Spring, Maryland. And so they reached out to us because they wanted a model of the brain that people can interact with and that they can touch, and it would respond back to them. So as you touch different parts of the brain, it will speak. It will tell you exactly what part of the brain you're touching and what it does. So it's a really cool way to experience the brain. Actually, before I started working with touch graphics, I was also involved in cognitive neuroscience research. So it hit really close to home, and it was really cool to actually create some ways of experiencing the brain tactily, in particular because I'm also blind and have always been just a huge fan of tactile 3D models and of those all kinds of cool tactile experiences. So I mentioned that last year. We actually ended up installing that late last year, so that was very exciting. Let's see, we also are still continuing with some of the work that we've been doing on some other 3D tactile models. So this is, as some of you have probably thought about, it's kind of a strange time for museum stuff right now because of the virus and everything being touchless and sort of this extreme caution and in some cases phobia of allowing people to touch things, and that definitely presents a huge accessibility challenge, particularly for people who are blind or low vision or who just are tactile learners. So this is sort of something that we're just feeling out over time and seeing how it goes. I mean, that's what we're going to do, is just see how things go and go with it. So a lot of the museum work we've been doing has been at least temporarily put on hold because everybody is, everything is paused. But the good thing, the silver lining in a lot of this is that the work that we've been doing has it's coincided. The work that we've been doing now is is coinciding with the need for educational materials that can be used at home and in schools. So we, a long time ago, we made a product called the Talking Tactile Tablet. And it is a tactile graphics tablet that was used in educational settings. And it was a really popular product and people really liked it. So right now we're working on the second generation version of it. So I'm going to tell you guys a little bit about how this works. So it is it's a tablet. It's a electronic tablet, and you can put overlay sheets on it with different kinds of tactile graphics. So it can be anything from a graphic of, it can be anything from a graph that you would use in math class, to a diagram of a neuron, to a chemistry diagram, to really anything that you can present as a two-dimensional tactile graphic. And then when you put the overlay on the tablet, it turns that overlay into an interactive experience. So as you touch different parts of the overlay, it will talk to you. So what's cool is what we intend to do is have some curricula that already come with the tablet that you can purchase with the tablet. That would be for specific subjects. And this is something where we really are still interested to hear from people about what kinds of applications would be really useful, because there's so much we could do. And especially in the sciences, there's a lot of different interesting tactile experiences that could be conveyed through a tactile tablet, an interactive tablet. So you put this overlay sheet on the tablet, and then you could touch different parts of it. And say you have a graphic of a neuron, you could touch different parts of that brain cell, and it would tell you, this is the axon, this is the dendrites, this is the cell body. And then if you could even program it so if you continue to touch the same part of the graphic, it can give you more information about that graphic. So so there's, on one hand, we want to have some curricula that come with this device, and then also we're creating an authoring tool so that people can create their own graphics and make their own descriptions that go with it. So that's really, really exciting. So, you could have your own graphic that you want to show to a student or just to have for yourself. And you could put it on this tablet, and you could program it so that when you touch different parts, it would tell you different information. It could even make different sounds. There's a whole lot that can be done. So it's really, really exciting, really interesting. We also want to make sure that authoring tool is accessible. It's really important. That was one of the first things that I personally thought of as a blind designer and as a blind person who's been in the STEM fields. I'm like, okay, it has to be accessible. Like, this isn't just for the blind. Like, this is actually something that we want blind people to be able to use. And so that's a very important part of the process. So, yeah, there's a lot that we're doing with that. And what's exciting, one of the exciting things about that is that this is something that people can use in schools. They can use it at home. There are the concerns of everybody and their hands touching it in public. So it's a great way of presenting tactile information to people, even during this time where touch is kind of is very iffy, because it's still essential. I mean, as blind people and as tactile learners, a lot of us really rely on tactile information, and it's not optional to just not touch things. So also, one of the important principles when we design these things is, like, we really want to make them hand catching. Everyone talks about things being eye catching, and I can understand so much from personal experience that tactile, it's the same way with touch. When you feel something, you want it to be cool, you want it to be interesting. You don't want it to just be accessible in the sense of, like, making something kind of less bad and making it tick all the boxes. Like, you really want it to be an interesting experience. You want it to be a great experience. So that's what we do. It's really exciting. I am just super excited to see how things continue. Oh yeah, and last year I bought some tactile bats. So that was another application. We had these graphics of bats, and you can put them on this tablet. And I written a script so that when you touch different parts of the bat, it will tell you about bat anatomy. So it's all really exciting work, and I'd love to hear from anybody. And feel free to reach out anytime. I love talking about this stuff, and we're always interested in getting people's input and learning about what kinds of things people want to experience. So thank you so much. And if you have any questions, let me know. My info, so I'm Lindsay Yazzolino, and my email address is ly, so ly at touchgraphics.com. And our website is touchgraphics.com. And feel free to reach out anytime. Thanks so much.
Thank you so much, Lindsay. Quick update for everyone tuning in. We will be deleting the Q&A section scheduled since we are running behind. So with that, I'd like to encourage you guys to make sure you're just submitting your questions in the Q&A. And speakers, if you can take a look in the Q&A and respond via text so that we can help get back on schedule for everyone here, that would be great. Thank you, Lindsay, for that awesome talk and for your wonderful energy. I love it.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.